bottom 3 rivets in this. You will only put the bottom 3 rivets in because the last rivet gets placed in position after everything else is assembled. That is one of the last positions. Once again, I'm going to use the hand tool for this. Slides over the rivet. Try to catch the light so I can see it. I have a heavy metal piece in the vise which this piece will slide and brace itself upon, thus eliminating the extra hands needed. Find the head of the rivet needs flared with the tool, and just very gently, because those are a light brass rivet, just tap that over and it's tight in place. One of your biggest helpful parts of the assembly is how you disassembled it. Take any notes that you need to, do whatever you can, but be very careful with these holes. There are special holes up in the top of this piece which are larger. These actually encompass the heads of these rivets so that they're not in the way of your window assembly. The 9/64 hole in the bottom, you'll slip that rivet into there. Again, get it lined up, and then punch that rivet over solid. Now this piece determines whether this is going to be the right or the left-hand vent window assembly. Your bottom bracket points the same direction as the wide part of your framework. Again, you'll take the 3 longer rivets, 9/64 by 5/16, I believe they are. Install the 3 into the base. Don't forget to put your spacer in there, and then your bracket goes on. Then we'll use the foot press to install the bottom bracket. Installation of the bottom bracket. Again, get your rivets lined up. Make sure they're all in place before you set the first one. Again, whether doing it by hand or by press, just to make sure the rivet's all set into place. Make sure the bracket's good and tight. And once again, that bracket must point to the same direction that your stainless is at. Next part is your vent frame assembly itself. This is very important when you take this apart. Make sure your top 2 rivets, this end corner stop rivet, and all these holes are cleaned out. There should be 2 holes on the back top. One is for your sun visor. The other 3 holes are for your rubber to insert into. Make sure your chrome plater does not get too much chrome into your top insert. Your rubber stop must slide in there. These parts are available from Carpenter as far as all the rubber pieces go. Install that rubber piece there. Get your rivet. Slide your rivet through, and then that one will have to be riveted on the vise by hand. Be very careful. Normally place tape. Place tape around the rivet to help hold that rivet in place while you're working with it. Also, lay something, this is your chrome work. You should have that all done already. Make sure you lay a cloth or something down on the vise to protect your chrome work. Your bottom bracket, this is what the rubber actually snaps into. This bottom bracket gets placed on. Again, there's holes in the bottom of this. Make sure those holes are not enlarged. And these get held on. A rivet gets put in the very front of that piece, and also one in front of the big hole. So there's 2 rivets that hold that bottom bracket in place. And then we'll also, you have your sun visor assembly. Your sun visor gets tucked in. Again, you will place your rivet in place, and again, tape that rivet in place so that it will stay as you're working with it, but you will need to have somebody extra help to help hold this piece in place while you rivet that one down. Once again, this bottom bracket must be installed tight. I want to make sure that there's no play in it. And again, if those holes are enlarged, you'll have a very difficult time putting the rubber in place. Again, your rivets just roll over nicely and tighten everything up. Again, it's just a matter of sliding this piece into place. It goes behind your sun visor, and then your 2 rivets come up through, and again tape those in place. First, you need to make sure that these longer rivets flare out far enough that they're going to hold those pieces in place. And then take your flaring tool and flare them down tight. Get your lower vent bracket, install it where it needs to go. Again, line up your holes, place your rivets, and crimp them down whatever's easiest for you. Either a bubble solution or dish detergent, whatever you want to use. Apply it onto the dovetail, which assembles into the other matched channel in the bottom. Install that in place, and this is where you can use some type of a pry tool to help pry this into that channel. Got to make sure that whole thing is down and in place so everything stays tight. And lefts of all these pieces. Once you get it in place, again, it's just a matter of getting your rivets in place. It's a 9/64 by 7/16 that goes in the bottom 2. And then it's a 9/64 by 1/4 that goes in the top 2. And then rivet those solid however you can. Because you don't have much room to swing a hammer up in here. That rubber should all tuck in there. Rubber should all tuck in place. There's a series of screws, 1, 2, 3 short screws in the back that are approximately 7/16 of an inch long. They're a Phillips head. And then there's one that goes through the top. You must save those screws. They are not available anywhere. So make sure you save your original ones as you take them out. Once you get everything else is finished up. Now we come back to that last rivet for the rubber piece. Okay, place your last rivet into the rubber piece. Place it into the hole, pull everything tight. And squeeze or punch that rivet in tight. Make sure you don't get that rivet too tight, because there is a brass lining inside of this rubber. If you crush it too much, this will roll out on you and your vent window will not close against it. So other than that, you're basically done. Install your glass into your framework. I don't do that. There's some other bracketry and stuff that I don't have that goes in here. Do you have questions about this process to restore your parts? Or if you have questions about pricing to have your parts finished, please contact Jeff at info@restorationspecialties.com or call us at 814-467-9842. Thank you for watching.